October 14, 2025, a day that will live in tech infamy. Currently, still 40% of Windows users are still on Windows 10. Likely the main reason you have not updated to Windows 11 is because you cannot. Your old computer is considered junk now.
Bill Gates spent 40 years building a company that billions of people trusted with their most important work, their businesses, their hospitals, their government. One memo he wrote in 2002 called the Trustworthy Computing Memo told every single engineer at Microsoft that security, privacy, and reliability were non-negotiables. Not suggestions. Not goals. Non-negotiables. That memo shaped the entire company for decades. And right now, in 2026, governments across the entire planet are asking whether Microsoft forgot every single word of it. Here is what is actually happening. Germany's Federal Office for Information Security, known as the BSI, spent 6 months running tests on Windows 11. They set up isolated networks, installed the OS on multiple machines, turned telemetry to the absolute lowest setting, disabled every optional data collection feature they could find, and then monitored every single packet of data leaving those machines. What they found was that even with everything disabled, Windows 11 was still transmitting identifiable user data to Microsoft servers in the United States. User behavior patterns, application usage, hardware configurations, geographic data, all of it leaving the machine constantly. The BSI team tried blocking the transmissions using firewall rules, registry edits, group policies. Nothing worked completely. Windows 11 found different servers, different ports, different protocols. It is designed to phone home, and it is built into the core of the operating system. You can minimize it. You cannot stop it. That finding alone triggered an unprecedented directive ordering all German government agencies to evaluate alternatives within 90 days. Then came recall. Microsoft introduced this feature as a productivity revolution. It takes a screenshot of everything on your screen every few seconds, indexes all of it, and lets you search back through your entire computing history. Every password you typed, every private document you opened, every personal photo you viewed, all recorded, all stored. Security researchers immediately tore it apart and demonstrated that the data recall collected could be accessed in plain text under certain conditions. Governments reacted fast. The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre issued guidance to disable it on all government systems. France followed. The Netherlands banned it entirely on government networks. Australia's Cybersecurity Centre recommended against using it in any environment handling sensitive information. Within weeks, recall went from being a flagship feature to a security liability that governments worldwide were actively banning. Copilot made it worse. When enterprise security teams began testing Windows Copilot in corporate environments in late 2023 and into 2024, they found that the AI assistant operates with the same permissions as the user. If an employee can access salary databases, confidential contracts, or merger documents, Copilot can read all of it and reference it in its responses. Security firm Varonis published research showing that in typical enterprise environments, over 15% of files containing sensitive data are directly at risk. The U.S. House of Representatives banned Copilot from all congressional devices entirely after their own cybersecurity office concluded it posed an unacceptable threat to congressional data. Fortune 500 companies quietly began blocking Windows 11 deployment. A survey of enterprise security professionals in early 2024 found that 67% expressed serious concerns about AI tools exposing sensitive information through improper access controls. Then China moved. March 2025, the Chinese Cyberspace Administration issued a directive ordering all government agencies and state-owned enterprises to phase out Windows 11 within 24 months. That directive covers 50 million computers, the largest forced operating system migration in history. China is replacing Windows with homegrown alternatives including Kylin OS and UOS Linux distributions built with source code they can audit and servers they control. And the NSA quietly removed Windows 11 from its approved operating systems list for classified network. No public announcement was made. The change simply happened. The contracts started bleeding. Germany awarded a €500 million government desktop contract to a Linux consortium. Microsoft did not even make the short list. France chose open-source solutions for a consolidated government IT project worth €800 million, a contract Microsoft was widely expected to win. The Netherlands updated 200,000 government computers, evaluated Windows 11, and chose Ubuntu. A €150 million loss. Governments that had been loyal Microsoft customers for decades are now choosing free operating systems over Windows 11. Back home, the update pipeline was collapsing on top of all of this. The February 2026 Patch Tuesday update hit machines with DHCP failures, dead internet connections, boot loops, and sign-in breakdowns all at the same time. The terrifying part was how normal everything looked. The network icon showed connected. Windows insisted nothing was wrong. But beneath that, the network stack had quietly collapsed. No data moved. No pages loaded. No apps could reach anything. And this was not fringe hardware. The same pattern of failures was reported across forums, community boards, and major publications worldwide simultaneously. Microsoft handed users an impossible choice because that same update addressed 58 vulnerabilities, 6 of which were being actively exploited in real attacks right now. Install the broken update or leave 6 live attack doors open for hackers. There was no safe option. 500 million users have refused to upgrade from Windows 10. That number is not a statistic. That is a verdict. 500 million people looked at Windows 11 and said clearly, "We do not trust you anymore." The 2024 U.S. Cyber Safety Review Board documented that Microsoft's internal security culture had experienced preventable failures. This was not angry users on Reddit. This was people with subpoena power putting it on the official record. Bill Gates said it himself in 2023. Speed should never come at the cost of trust. Moving fast means nothing if you destroy the relationship between a company and the people depending on its product. The company he built is now losing billion-dollar government contracts to free software. When the operating system designed to protect your machine becomes the biggest risk to it, the question every single user is asking right now is the same one governments are asking. What exactly are we supposed to trust anymore?
You are not a Microsoft slave. You own your device. Take your freedom back. Dump Windows, otherwise it will own you.
Absolutely. There are a ton of these investments that will be dead ends.
That we're going to leave. We're going to stop supporting Windows.
Nearly 1 billion people are still running Windows 10 right now, and Microsoft has absolutely no answer for it. Not a plan, not a fix, not even an apology. Just silence. And while Microsoft sits quiet, Zorin OS just hit 2 million downloads in 3 months. The majority from people who were done waiting. This is not a tech story anymore. This is a revolt. And today you are going to understand exactly why it happened, who started it, and why Bill Gates himself should be furious at what his own company has become. Gates built Microsoft on one promise: a computer on every desk and in every home. Not every approved desk. Not every verified home. Every single one. That promise turned a small software company into the most dominant technology corporation on the planet. Windows became the default. For decades nobody questioned it. You bought a computer, it ran Windows, and that was just the way the world worked. But the people running Microsoft today took that loyalty, that trust built over 30 years, and they burned it. Deliberately. Systematically. One bad decision at a time. It started with Windows 11 and the TPM 2.0 requirement. Microsoft looked at 240 million perfectly functional computers, Machines that browse the internet fine, run spreadsheets fine, do everything their owners need, and declared them incompatible. Not broken. Not slow. Incompatible by a rule Microsoft wrote to benefit its hardware partners. Analysts at Connelly's confirmed the number. 240 million PCs pushed toward the trash. If you stacked those machines as folded laptops, the pile would reach 600 kilometers higher than the moon. And while this was happening, Microsoft was publishing sustainability reports and talking about carbon neutrality. That contradiction is not ironic. It is embarrassing. Then came the forced Microsoft account. Your own computer, hardware you paid for, now requires Microsoft's permission to operate. The local account option, something Windows users had for decades, got buried behind gray menus, extra screens, and deliberate friction. When people found workarounds, Microsoft patched them out. The bypass NRO command gone. MSCXH local only gone. Then they went after Rufus, the free open-source tool used by millions of IT professionals and system administrators to create clean bootable installs. Google Fiber users blocked. NTT users in Japan blocked. Deutsche Telekom users in Germany blocked. Pete Battard, the developer who built Rufus, stated publicly this was not a mistake. Blocking scripted requests while allowing browser downloads requires specific configuration. That is a deliberate policy decision made by someone inside Microsoft. And why? Because every user forced through a Microsoft account during setup becomes a Microsoft 365 subscriber target. A OneDrive storage customer. An advertising metric. Microsoft now serves ads inside Windows 11, inside the Start menu, inside File Explorer, inside the lock screen. You paid for the hardware. Microsoft is still selling you things on it. That is not a design choice. That is a monetization strategy running on top of an operating system you already own. Then came Copilot and Recall. Recall takes a screenshot of your screen every 5 seconds, analyzes it with AI, and stores everything in a searchable database on your hard drive. Passwords, encrypted messages, financial documents, everything visible on screen captured and indexed automatically. Cybersecurity expert Jeff Pard called it a risk in its entirety. The backlash was so severe Microsoft had to pause the rollout. But the damage was already done. Users had seen what Microsoft actually wanted: complete visibility into everything you do on your own machine. Dell's chief operating officer Jeffrey Clark dropped a number during an earnings call that should have sent shockwaves through Redmond. 500 million computers that fully meet Windows 11 requirements, correct chip, correct CPU, everything, and their owners still refuse to upgrade. They looked at everything Windows 11 demands and said no. They decided running unsupported software with no security patches was safer than handing Microsoft that level of access. When users willingly accept a security risk to avoid your product, you have lost something that cannot be recovered with a marketing campaign. October 14, 2025. Windows 10 support officially ends. Microsoft shuts the door on hundreds of millions of users. 5 weeks later, Zorin OS 18 launches. In the first month alone, 780,000 downloads came directly from Windows devices. 78% of all downloads traced back to Windows PCs. People were not curious. They were migrating. By January 2026, that number crossed 2 million. One distribution. One option among hundreds. 2 million people chose it specifically to escape Microsoft. Zorin OS runs on every machine Windows 11 rejected. No TPM 2.0 requirement. No hardware gatekeeping. You can take a computer Microsoft declared dead and have Zorin running on it fully within an hour. The taskbar is where you expect it. The Start menu opens the way you remember. Snap layouts work. System tray is in the right corner. Zero ads. No forced account. No Copilot watching your screen. Updates happen when you decide. And underneath all of it runs Ubuntu, meaning every Ubuntu tutorial online works, Hardware support is inherited from one of the most tested bases in existence, and the foundation is rock solid. The broader numbers tell you this is not a fluke. Linux desktop market share hit 4.7% globally in January 2026, up from 2.76% in 2022, a 70% increase in 3.5 years. Steam gaming on Linux hit an all-time high at 3.58% of users with 57 to 64% year-over-year growth. 89.7% of Windows games now run on Linux through Proton. Germany's Schleswig-Holstein is migrating 30,000 government computers off Microsoft entirely. France's National Gendarmerie already runs 103,164 machines on Linux with a 40% reduction in total cost. Windows' total market share dropped 5.5 percentage points in a single year. Microsoft did not lose these users because Linux suddenly